Republicans want them actively make the system more cruel. Like, what's your problem? Just vote Democrat then, dude. What the fuck do you mean? Like, what do you mean you're voting for Nikki Haley?
We're going to begin.
Speaking of status quo, let's get to Little Rhonda.
With a major shakeup, though, in the 2024 election. Have you heard? With the New Hampshire primary just a day away, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is out. He has endorsed former President Donald Trump, and now it is officially a two-person race to become the Republican presidential nominee.
The latest polling shows Trump with a big advantage in New Hampshire with just over half of the projected Republican vote. Nikki Haley is at just under 35%, but there's a potential path for victory for her. Tony is leading our team coverage in Manchester, New Hampshire. Tony, good morning. What's up?
Hey, good morning, guys. This is like the political version of the NFL playoffs.
I do love New Hampshire because they do have an open primary, which means like Democrats can vote for Nikki Haley. And I think that would be awesome. Like independents and Democrats voting for Nikki Haley would be so fire because then like there would be a little bit extra chaos, even though clearly Donald Trump is the guy, right? Anyway.
And perhaps the last best hope for old school Republicans who are still dreaming for an end of the Donald Trump era, and for independents, too, who don't want to see another Trump-Biden general election. There are a lot of them. We're at Bookery, Manchester. It's a bookstore here in New Hampshire's biggest city. You might hear the latte machine going behind me. We've been all over the state, though. We've been ice skating in Portsmouth. We've been skiing in Guilford, grocery shopping in Derry. And all the time we're talking to voters, you know me, and they are as...
Would Haley be Biden? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, dude. Not even a fucking question. Dude. If it was a Haley Biden matchup right now with how much media coverage is being afforded to Haley by liberals who are like want to present her as like a serious threat to Donald Trump, right now she's like beating him by I think 8 points or something. Dude, Nikki Haley is beating Biden by 8 points currently. There's no better way to like, look, Americans are simple people, okay? We're fucking stupid. You put a woman up there, all of a sudden you're like massaging the narrative on abortion. It's more than 8 now. Nikki Haley touts 17 point. No, I don't think that's correct. I don't think it's 17. I think that's crazy. Yeah, Haley leads Biden by like 6, 5, and 4 points, which is really, really bad. There is no 18%.
Rethinking, really, as the state motto suggests, live free or die. And that's the wild card here. Independents, known as undeclared voters, are the biggest voting bloc in the state. And they are allowed to participate in the Republican primary if they so choose. So, even though Donald Trump does maintain a double-digit lead over Nikki Haley, she may still have a shot if she can turn out those people in the middle. Coming up in just a moment, we're going to hear from folks about how the economy is affecting their vote. It's not good. But first, we're going to begin with Caitlin Huey-Burns, who's also here in Manchester with me following the candidates' final arguments. Caitlin, good to see you. I know things must be getting closer because they're getting uglier.
Yeah, good to see you. Good morning, Tony. They certainly are. The race is almost here. And with just one day to go, the race is now down to just 2 candidates, Nikki Haley versus Donald Trump. And with that race coming up, they have really been ramping up attacks, knowing that this race could potentially be, for all intents and purposes, the last.
Can you hear that sound?
The Adelson family owns Israel Hayom? No way. I did not know that. That's crazy. That's gross. All right, let's get back to Ron DeSantis.
That's the sound of a two-person race.
Nikki Haley visibly upbeat after the announcement from Florida Governor Ron DeSantis Sunday that he was ending.
Sheldon Adelson is a freak-like demon. Rest in piss. I think he's a casino guy, right? Like he owned casinos before he fucking died, right? I think. Literal fucking, yeah, a Jabba the Hutt looking psycho. Just the scariest motherfucker out there. But, of course, because he was right-wing, the same anti-Semitic people that constantly were like, oh my God, George Soros, he's the real demon behind he's the real demon pulling the levers of power, simply just never talked about Sheldon Adelson's influence on the Republican Party in particular.
His presidential campaign.
It's clear to me that a majority of Republican primary voters want to give Donald Trump another chance.
I just want to thank Ron.
Donald Trump acknowledged his now
Okay, to
former
be fair, this
rival, while
this
picking up
works
another
perfectly
key
for.
endorsement from South Carolina Senator.
Needs to superimpose this song with like just footage of Rhonda. What was this? God, it's such good content. Oh yeah, I saw the delivery here.
Because the more you age, it just does, you have decline.
After the 77-year-old seemed to confuse Haley with former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi when talking about January 6th.
Nikki Haley is in charge of security. We offered her 10,000 people, soldiers, National Guard, so whatever they want. They turned it down.
Still, Trump has the support of over half the Republicans in Congress, including New York Congresswoman Elise Stefanik.
Does that mean that Donald Trump is the establishment candidate of the Republican Party?
No, it means that we are unifying behind him. That's where the voters are.
And speaking of voters, we talked to neighbors and longtime friends Doug Krause and Kevin St. Pierre as they shared a beer.
I'm supporting Trump.
Nikki Haley.
For me, it's been Trump all along. I would like to see him dial it down maybe a little bit, but I applaud. I think he's an honest guy, and what he says, he did.
We love each other. So it's all good. I just laugh because when he says he's an honest guy, which I think opposite.
I wish that there'd be less, I don't want to say hatred, but people could do this and just have difference of opinion and keep it civil.
Yeah.
Joining Caitlin and I.
Yeah, bro, because you're both Republican. Like, what do you mean? Oh, man, our political differences are so huge, dude. I think when Republicans say that, they don't realize, like, there actually isn't that big of a deviation on a lot of issues. It's just that, like, you either have to be, like, polite racist and continue defending American imperialism and all this other dumb shit, or you have to be overtly racist. That's the difference between, like, friendships being, friendships continuing. Republicans are cruel because liberals are already looking at a cruel system and saying, oh, there's simply no other way to change it. Republicans want to actively make the system more cruel. That's it. Like, what's your problem? Just vote Democrat then, dude. What the fuck do you mean? Like, what do you mean you're voting for Nikki Haley? That I will never understand. It's not like Democrats are fucking actively, raising your taxes or anything like that. It just doesn't make any sense to me. You're just like an asshole, okay? They're bad already. The Democrats are bad already. You're a fucking asshole if you look at the bad Democrats and you go, no, I actually want to like kill gay people or whatever. It just doesn't make sense. This is why the conversation is so stupid. When like, do you actually think Biden is worse than Nikki Haley? Or do you actually think Biden is going to be better than Nikki Haley? Like, no, Biden is Biden. The Democratic Party is always going to be marginally better than the Republicans by the virtue of not being Republican. That's it. On certain issues, they might be worse, like Israel. I don't think that Nikki Haley would be any different than Biden on Israel either. I think she is also an ideological Zionist.
Given that the only candidates remaining in the Republican primaries are Nikki Haley and Donald Trump, Trump has started attacking and mocking Nikki Haley in different ways. Trump is calling her bird brain, mocking her intelligence. Trump also shared a Gateway Pundit article falsely claiming that Nikki Haley cannot become the president or vice president of United States because Haley's immigrant parents were not citizens of the United States when she was born. But Haley was born in United States in 1972, so that makes her eligible to become a president. Trump has generally used this trick of calling his opponents ineligible to run when they are not white. In 2016, Trump said that his primary opponent, Ted Cruz, who is a Latino, is potentially ineligible to become US president. But the most famous person whose citizenship was questioned by Donald Trump was Barack Obama. In 2011, Trump started pushing the lie that Obama is not a US citizen because he was not born in United States. Sean Hannity also discussed this theory very regularly until Obama released his birth certificate.
But on domestic issues, I suspect that whenever you have another Republican, they just work doubly hard to actively undermine democracy, to actively undermine labor protections, to cripple the federal agencies from within. That's it. It's always the same process in the United States of America. The Democrats will never, ever learn from their mistakes. It's just, I don't know. Yeah, the Democrats are not even making mistakes, really. Their goal is to continue the system as is, really. I don't know. It's just really fucked up. You are a class traitor, and I appreciate that. Joe Rogan shows class solidarity. That's why he endorses Trump and DeSantis. I mean, yeah, but Joe Rogan is an honest man, unlike me.
Now to break down tomorrow's primary is our CBS News chief election and campaign correspondent, Robert Costa. Bob, good morning. Thanks for being here. All right, so Ron DeSantis drops out. He endorses Trump. He takes a parting shot at Nikki Haley, calls her warmed over corporatism. How is that going to affect the race? And what are you hearing about the timing? Why did he do it now?
There were discussions among DeSantis allies for a long time about whether he had a path ahead. And ultimately, there was an acknowledgement by DeSantis, his wife Casey, and his top allies that he just didn't have the money to go on, the momentum to go not only into New Hampshire, but into South Carolina, into Super Tuesday in early March. The timing now protects his political capital should he want to run again for president in 2028. Or
the difference is when you guys say capitalist, you mean not suffering. Like I'm thriving. As far as like my relationship with someone above me, I am a incredibly well-paid, contracted, 1099 employee of Amazon, okay? That has no set income, that is simply basically paying Amazon a percentage of the revenue that I generate for allowing me to do it on their platform, okay? But I make a shit ton of money. So I guess that's where I have every interest in defending capital owners, because that way I can get tax breaks. That way I can, I don't know, tell you to be grateful for my presence even. That way I could be like, oh yeah, what do you mean? Be grateful. I'm a job provider. And I would benefit greatly from defending right-wing positions. Yeah, I'm a small business tyrant, petite bourgeoisie, owned and operated business owner. The difference is there are places that I could be generating revenue off of, such as the Eclipse Industrial Complex, which I don't. Is it a sign of psychosis, or am I projecting? I think you're projecting.
Or later.
Yeah, and Caitlin, Nikki Haley stepping up her attacks against Donald Trump, bringing up the age thing, something I've heard a lot about from voters. They are concerned. How can that have an effect? Is it too little, too late?
Well, New Hampshire is kind of a place for underdogs because it's fertile ground. You mentioned those independent voters, but Republican operatives I talked to say that she does still have a real uphill climb here. If she wants to make it close with Donald.
When they say that, they mean fucking stupid, by the way, which is pretty awesome. Like, it's such a kind way to say they're just batshit crazy. I'm sure New Hampshire chatters can also, you know, agree with me on this. I mean, remember, this is like the Bernie state, right? That's what it is. They love being fucking nutty. They love getting nutty with it. I thought that was Vermont. No, that's a different type of Bernie state. That's actually where he's from. I'm talking like a state that would vote for Bernie. As I've said before, New Hampshire is like, yeah, you don't have car insurance. You don't need to wear a seatbelt legally. New Hampshire is the most libertarian, most Arizona-coded state. The only difference is it's not in the South, okay? It is literally the northeastern Arizona. And I guess there's a limitation to how, like, Arizona you can get with the weather and stuff.
Trump, she really has to overperform among independent voters, and it's a nuanced group. If you remember, Donald Trump actually won independent voters in 2016, and he won the nomination, and the rest is history. So,
you know what's really sad? I know Bernie Sanders is really old, and I know Joe Biden's age is like one of the major problems. But in a world where like maybe Bernie was a little bit younger than Joe Biden, this would be the perfect election for him to run the second time. Not the last one, but this one. Literally, people are so horny for anyone. Here's how Bernie could still win. Stop. I'm not saying that, okay? But I am kind of saying that. Even though he is like dick riding Israel to oblivion and kind of tarnishing his legacy big time by having his like last actions on this earth before he fucking passes away after like 800 years of service to socialism and the American working class. He's ending it with one final American imperialist huzzah.
She's been stepping up the attacks, but I will say undeclared voters I've been talking to want to see her be more aggressive.
Even more so.
Even more
wow.
aggressive.
Go ahead.
You know who else is watching donors. They want to see if Haley can perform here or overperform, as Caitlin said, then they will start to pour millions into her campaign, try to set her up for Super Tuesday.
Okay, so that's the messaging, that's the money part of things. But Caitlin, you've also been talking to voters about the issues that matter to them. Put the horse race over here. What do people care about?
Well, we are several thousand miles away from the southern border, but immigration is coming up over and over again among Republican voters I talked to.
I'll be able to run for election next time around, Chad. Don't worry. I'm going to do it. I will be dead by then, so I won't be running.
Mainly because of fentanyl and the opioid crisis here. Also, just generally, Tony, talking to voters, you sense this real pessimism about the future, about the way things are going. People on both sides that I've talked to want something different.
Yeah, it is deep. It is abiding. And Bob, I am curious, is this make or break for Nikki Haley? If she takes second place in this distant second place, is she done?
The margin people on the inside of politics are watching is, can she get single digits? If she's within 9 or less of Trump, maybe she can carry on and have a case. But if she's 10 more behind Trump, it's hard to say she really has a path to the nomination. At this point, though, for Haley, she still thinks she has strength in her home state of South Carolina. So if she gets, 10 or 12 points behind Trump, she still may decide to stay in the race and hang tough.
All right, Bob, Caitlin, thank you both very much. Really appreciate it. Guys, as I send it back to you in New York, I used to work in a coffee shop. I might hop behind the counter, make a few cappuccinos. One more thing I want to point out. The union leader here, newspaper in Manchester, I get endorsements aren't what they used to be from newspapers, but they had a very colorful one yesterday. They quoted Jurassic Park, the movie, always a win in my book, and said Biden and Trump are dinosaurs. They endorsed Haley and said she's the, quote, fireball from the heavens to wipe them out. Points for color.
Support local news. That's my reaction to that, Tony. And I support you getting behind the counter and brewing up some.
I love leftists who every election cycle come in and say, any thoughts on Claudia de la Cruz? What do you think about the Party for Socialism and Liberation? Hasan, what do you think about the Party for Socialism and Liberation? Do you feel like, I'm with her. Yeah. Every year, dude, every fucking year, it's like, they're going nutty on TikTok. Yeah, they were going nutty for Marianne Williamson, too. Austin Knox. Polling at 9% at New Hampshire. Something to consider. Anyway, it's just like, listen, don't ask questions. Don't care. Still voting for Jank. Okay, that's it. That's it. For me, I don't ask questions. I'm writing in Jank. Don't care. Voting for Jank. Okay? Jank is my protest candidate.
Until and unless Nikki Haley somehow gets a surprisingly good result in New Hampshire, the road ahead of her is not looking good. Because nationally and in other states, Trump is leading by around 50 or 60 points. Unlike New Hampshire, where Trump lead is only around 22%, or even less in some other polls. But in the latest polls, Trump is leading by 57 to 38. If Haley doesn't win in New Hampshire or come close to winning, which she probably won't, then most will write her off as a contender for Republican presidential nominee. Things are looking great for Donald Trump, not only in the Republican primary but also in national polls. In recent months, Trump's popularity has consistently increased, as you can see in this picture, whereas Biden's popularity has only decreased or remained stable. As of 22nd January, Trump's favorable rating is 43% and Joe Biden's favorable rating is 40%. And Trump's unfavorable rating is 52% and Biden's unfavorable rating is 55%. Until and unless the Biden-Harris campaign has clear plans ahead of them, or Trump's legal troubles increase, or Biden-Harris gets huge donations, things are not looking good for them. And for now, things are looking very good for Trump. If you enjoyed this video, then make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel for more videos like this. And thanks for watching.